What's up, everybody? It's your boy Dueling King, and happy National Video Game Day. So I recently found out on Instagram or on Twitter or somewhere that it was National Video Game Day today, so I decided I would throw together a video and just kind of talk a little bit about my favorite video games of all time, a little bit about my gaming history and everything like that. And I'd also like to hear about your guys' gaming history as well. So please, in the comment section down below, let me know what video games you guys have played in the past, what your guys' favorite video games are, what games you're playing a lot right now. I mean, obviously you guys know from my channel what video games I've played in the past. Like, I played World War II, Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2, Destiny 2. I have a Perfect Dark walkthrough. I'm currently playing Horizon. You've heard that I really like a lot of games from my channel, but I haven't really gone real in depth. I did a top 5 favorite video game video kind of a while back, but I figure, you know what, this kind of thing is fun to do for National Video Game Day, and I also really want to hear what your guys' thoughts are and what your guys' favorite video games are. So I'm just going to kind of go into it. If anybody who knows me personally would know that my favorite video game of all time is The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time for the Nintendo 64. It's released for the 3DS now as well. Actually, it's been released for the 3DS for quite a while, but it was originally released for the Nintendo 64, and that's probably one of my favorite systems of all time, as well as the 3DS for that matter. But it's one of the most complete games I've ever played. I've just always really enjoyed it. I've really loved it. The same goes for Majora's Mask. That again has a 3DS release as well, and it was originally on the Nintendo 64. But those are pretty much my two favorite video games as far as 1 and 1A. As you guys can tell from the Mortal Kombat gameplay I've posted, the very little I've posted, more will be on its way, by the way. I've always really liked the Mortal Kombat series. I've always really liked fighting games in general. Like, I like the Injustice games. I like Street Fighter. I like the Marvel vs. Capcom games, so on and so forth. But Mortal Kombat was sort of the first one that me and my brothers and my family and my sisters have always kind of really been super into. So Mortal Kombat was the first fighting game that we'd really been into. When I was younger, I played a lot of Super Mario World, again, with my brothers. It was just something that was like something that we would play often, and we would always just kind of, that would be something that we would always play a lot when we were younger. I've always been a real big fan of Madden and the wrestling games, as far as like the SmackDown vs. Raw series. Recently, this has become WW2. I haven't really played a lot of those, but I used to play a lot of like SmackDown Here Comes the Pain, or like for the Nintendo 64 there was WCW vs. NWO Revenge and No Mercy. WWF No Mercy was one of my favorite games of all time when I was younger. And again, for the Nintendo 64, pretty much anything Rare did from like the 90s, like Banjo-Kazooie, Banjo-Tooie, I really liked. Perfect Dark, I really liked. I believe Rare did 007 GoldenEye. I believe they did GoldenEye. There's just a lot of games from that company in particular. I think Conker's Bad Fur Day was another one that they did, and I just really enjoy almost every game Rare has put out. I mean, there's a few that are a little unremarkable, but same thing. I've always really loved the Final Fantasy series. In particular, Final Fantasy IX is probably my favorite Final Fantasy game of all time. It's just gorgeous. It has a great storyline, lovable, awesome characters. It's just an overall great video game. And if you haven't tried it, and if you're a fan of RPGs, definitely give it a try. Same thing. Everybody knows about Skyrim and my love for Skyrim, but I think Skyrim is again one of the most complete, awesome video games, and is just done perfectly. And I just think it was just, to be honest with you, one of the best video games of all time. I recently, have been wanting to pick it up for the PlayStation 4, because I own it actually for the PlayStation 3 and for the Xbox One, but I've been wanting to pick it up for the PlayStation 4, and maybe I'll eventually at some point pick that up. But and then also, I've always been a huge fan of handheld mobile gaming, as far as like Game Boy Advance, Game Boy, the DS and the 3DS, so on and so forth. And so obviously, if you're ever a mobile gamer, chances are you've probably played Pokemon at least once, or at least given it a try. And I'm a huge Pokemon fan as well, so I would consider myself, I'm not sure if I've ever actually, and I'm not going to admit this to a lot of people, but I'm not sure if I've ever actually completed a singular Pokédex on any game, but I've for sure caught and trained most Pokemon that I've ever wanted to use in battles and such. But No, for sure. And then as far as game systems I've owned pretty much PlayStation 1 through PS4. I've owned all of them. I've owned the Xbox 360. I've owned an Xbox One. When we were younger, I owned a Sega Genesis. We've owned a Wii before. And then same thing, N64 was probably my favorite game system of all time. Second is probably the PS2. But no, you know what? I just really wanted to talk to everybody about video games in general on this day because it is National Video Game Day, and I wanted to get your guys' thoughts. So let me know in the comment section, like I said before, what's your favorite video game? And you know what? As a kind of a bonus, comment, let me know what your favorite game system of all time is as well. Mine is probably the N64 or the PlayStation 2, just because I spent so much time on those games. And obviously, like I said before, the games I have on this channel are some of my favorite games as well. But I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about some other games as well. So anyway, that'll pretty much do it, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to drop a like down below, and if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe for more. I'm always uploading more gameplay, and that'll pretty much do it. Peace out, everybody.